Hey, this is Spanner for the Spanner Riggs Show. We're here for another baller episode of Spanner and Riggs. We're going to talk to a couple more college-bound North Dakota athletes, one playing in the Summit League and one playing for Valley City. And we're also going to dive into the state predictions for all the spring sports. Here we go. Hey, this is Spanner right here. We're on a little Spanner Rig Show, and we're in the college segment here. We got a couple studs from Central Cast, guys that truly get what it's all about. A little running for your school, little hometown community, and now they're moving on to college, and we're going to talk about it. We got a little Jake Deutsch here and Frosty Wisnewski. How's it going, boys?
Doing good.
Great. Doing good.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're gonna jump right in right now because these guys are the epitome of what you and I have been kind of talking about over the last few months. You guys are multi-sport athletes to a T. 9 sports in high school. Tell us a little bit about the importance you feel of playing multiple sports and how it's helped you get to college. You guys can go one at a time, or you can interrupt each other. It's this Spanner show, so anything can happen. You know how it works.
Okay. I'll go first. When I was younger, I was told by my father that I've always wanted to play college football. That was my goal, and I was told what number one thing they look at is how many sports you play. So I've always dedicated myself, so I'm going to play as many sports as possible, and I just don't. And it's actually going to be weird in college. I'm doing only one sport, only focusing on one. I feel like right after football gets done, I'll think, well, what now? But yeah, that's how it kind of started for me.
Yeah. For me, it honestly was just getting out, being with friends. I wasn't in a sport till 4th grade, FM football. But, I mean, turned out I just loved being with the guys, loved being active, and eventually I wanted to try new sports, try new things, get out there, meet new people, and that's basically why I've done multiple sports.
You know, that's very interesting. I think I saw an article, was it yesterday or today? I can't remember. It was in Minnesota about AAU basketball, and some kid was going to sectionals for track, and the coaches apparently were upset at each other because the kid wanted to play track and was, something along those lines. But did you guys get any pressure at all to specialize? Because it feels like, Spanner and I have talked about this, and, in terms of my best athletes that I coached, being a hockey guy, they played all different sports. Guys played baseball, they played, lacrosse or soccer or whatever. But did you guys get any pressure at all from coaches to say, okay, start to focus on one and just stick with that and then train for it? Or did were your coaches giving you guys the flexibility to work around the confines of playing multiple sports?
So
honestly,
beautiful.
Go ahead.
Love it.
Oh, okay. Honestly, it's kind of the opposite. Coaches would just want you to be in every sport. They want you to go out, especially like Class B, right? They just want kids to go out for their sport. So it was honestly the opposite.
So I got a story for you, Spanner. Back in middle school, I think this is about 8th grade year. I was a wrestler and a basketball player, which doesn't happen. And I was basically told when I get older, I'm going to have to pick between the one or two of them. And my dad was really good friends with our athletic director, Travis Lamar. So we called him up and said, will you guys allow this? Or are you going to be like the other school and say this won't be allowed? So now today I'm in Castleton doing 5 sports, but I've never had a coach in Castleton tell me to focus on one sport and one sport only. They don't. Our coaches hate that at Central Cast, which I think is a great thing about Class B. I think you see that more in Class A, where kids are kind of forced to focus on their sport, unless they're freak athletes like Carson Hagley, where they can just do whatever they want. But I truly think that Class B and Class A are different than that. So I've never experienced anything in high school of
I gotta ask
having
you,
to pick a sport.
I gotta ask you right now. So you're the starting point guard for a top 5 ranked team in the state, but 2 of the other top 5 teams in the state are in your region. You're getting ready for the region playoffs, and you're also the best guy in the region in your weight class. You get to the state championship in wrestling. How does that work with the weight management and all that stuff?
Yeah, like carb loading before big region tournaments, I think is I know in the hockey and football world, absolutely you are, but
if you remember, I was getting questions about who we picking for the region, each region championship, and when we were on the show, I was like, okay, Kindred, Central Cal. I didn't even consider Enderlin, if you remember, even though they got the Hurlberts and whatever, but Kindred. Kindred Central Cast, and I said, Deutsch is he's done with wrestling. He's probably going to feel a lot stronger in that tournament. I eventually set it on Kindred, and they clipped you guys. But tell me about how you felt when wrestling ended, when you were playing in that region basketball tournament.
I felt amazing. I played the best basketball of my life as soon as wrestling got done. I was way more athletic, and I believe I didn't have a game under 20 points in the 3 games I played in the region tournament. I think one game was 18, actually. So my basketball coach jokes still that if I would only wrestled, that I would be this amazing, like a next level basketball player.
So, the big question, of course, is we talked off camera about these guys going to the next level, and talk us through the process of what led you to each respective schools, not only in terms of why you picked that school, but also the sport. When you're talking about, multi-sport athletes, there gets to be one you might be better at, but one you might more enjoy, right? So how did you guys, tell us the process of what led you guys to picking your respective schools in college?
You want to go first, Jake?
I'd love to. So I was basically recruited by all the small town North Dakota, Minnesota schools, and what made me settle on Valley City, 1, close to home, and 2, I feel like it's a college Class B school in a sense, and when I go there, I feel like when I went to the games, there's a lot of community sport behind it. A lot of community support behind it, behind all their programs. And my dad also went to Valley City, so he had a little bit of influence in that. Oh. And I really fell in love with the coaches, and that's all it took for me.
Right. For me, it was kind of all over the place. I'm not going to lie. About 2 weeks ago, I had no idea where I would end up, but I chose NDSU because, one, I know I'll be surrounded by individuals who want me to succeed. I got a lot of friends who are going there, but not only that, I chose NDSU because I believe that's a place where I can push myself. I can set my goals high, and I know I'll be surrounded by other individuals. I know Paul Olson is going there, and love competing with that guy. So just getting a bunch of athletes like that who are competitive and also have high standards for themselves, that's huge for why I picked NDSU. Also, it helps that it's only like a 20-minute drive from home, so I can do laundry whenever I want, just bring it home to my...
I had to learn how to do that.
Yeah, laundry, that's just a whole column when you're trying to figure out college. It's good.
My mom had to prep me before I came down. I mean, it's a 6-hour drive, coming from Canada, so it was like, say you do your laundry, and you gotta mix your color, don't get the darks and the whites and stuff. And it's cooking too. Oof.
Spanner can cook. I like cooking. Hey, so Frosty, your house is a house of stallions over there. You, Elise, tell me about a little trash talk at the table on Thanksgiving about who's faster or what. Or you guys ever have a runoff, or how's that work?
Honestly, at Thanksgiving, it's more from our grandpa. If I'm going to be honest.
He's the one throwing gas on the fire. Okay, all right.
Yeah, he was a state champion.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Yep, he was a big track athlete, big-time track athlete. He was a state champion, also a 400 runner. I believe he ran a 47 high 440 yard dash, which, I mean, not a true 400, but I mean, that's still crazy. He, yeah, most of the trash talk comes from him because,
he probably ran on a cinder track or a dirt track too, though, right?
Yep.
So
Yep. He talks about that all the time. He didn't get the fancy shoes. He had school issued shoes. I'd imagine leather with nails in them, but I mean, I don't know.
he
But
did he walk
otherwise,
uphill to school both ways? Walk home
what's
uphill? Did he walk uphill and
Both
home
ways in a snowstorm
in a
every day?
snowstorm uphill? A snowstorm.
Yep. Actually,
That's in
what he did to train was he would herd cattle, and sometimes the cows would chase him. He would just treat that as his training. He would run from the cattle. It's crazy.
It's like Rocky Four.
There you go,
out in
yeah.
Russia there, with the logs and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
that's good. I like that. So
The Wisnewskis have a very unique relationship. Like when you're at a track meet, you don't see trash talk. All you see is just support of each other, which for me is weird because with my brother, we're trying to beat the hell out of each other all day. But all I see from those three are supporting each other, and it's a really special relationship those three have. And I don't know if you guys saw the Midco special on them, but you should give that a watch.
I appreciate that. We'll take a look. So tell us what it's like competing in Region 1 in Class B. It's got to be the region of champions. I'm a soccer guy, so you got the group of death. They always call it in the World Cup.
Yep.
Is Region 1 the group of death for North Dakota?
To be honest, I think all regions are great. However, this year, something was in the water in this region. Everyone just was crazy, especially for track. You had individuals who are running state qualifying times in the first meet. You don't really see that happen, and it's just crazy. I think Region 1's a great region.
So yeah,
I'd say the East in general.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Yeah, no, it just seemed like it too. Even when Spainer was, calling it. I mean, it just felt like the West would always have like one kingpin, that would kind of run through a little bit. Whereas out the East, you'd be running down a number of different teams, and the games, like some of the quarterfinal games, would be tougher, and you kind of run yourself, like you said, through a gauntlet to get through there. Sometimes
It's
Region
interesting
6
though.
might be the only.
It's
outlier
just
a little
Class
bit.
B though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because Class A West is smashing the East this year.
Yeah, for sure.
If you go back to 12 months of state champions for Class A, West is up 15-10 on the East. But if you do it in Class B, it's completely one-sided.
It's crazy.
So, what do you guys think about that?
I think a lot of it has to do with competitiveness. I think like when you have a really good region and those guys are always playing each other, they're only going to get better.
Absolutely.
So I feel like over the years of playing each other, and like we all these kindred kids, all these Northern Caskets, we've been playing each other since we were in every sport since we were in middle school. So I really think that competitiveness between all of the schools and is what has brought us, I would say, to the top in Class B.
Just a quick question, not to go off kind of topic, but do you think, like in towns that are probably within 20 miles-ish from Fargo, do a lot of those peoples in those areas, do they live there and then work in Fargo? Like people travel? Because that's not a bad commute, and much, better cost of living in a smaller area, smaller field. Do you guys notice that at all in your areas? Is there a lot of people that work in Fargo?
Yeah, I would say about 80% of the people work in Fargo that live in Castleton or Kindred.
Because
In fact, my mom's one of those individuals.
Yeah,
Live in Cass, but she owns her own business, Prairie Winds Vet, over in West Fargo.
Is she giving you a little script to read off to get a little plug on the Spainer Rig Show? I saw
That's
you.
good. I like that.
Surprised you're not wearing like a shirt or something.
That's super smart, though. I like that.
But it's truly is, like I said, because obviously in being so close and the economy being so big, I know that especially even just trying to afford a house, sometimes buying a house in Fargo can be very expensive. So it's the rural living, and yet you can drive in and jump on the interstate. So That's just something I think that's big because, and I think, do you think this year is a rare year for this? Like you said, where it's Class B, or has it been predominantly like that? Where the East has been kind of tough.
My feeling is you got a golden generation of dudes there in Region 1 for all the schools, Enderle included. And then, like Jake said, they've grown up competing each other and they've raised their level. But in general, you get Grafton and Thompson, and these guys are competing in Fargo, and Jake's a tech team wrestler. They're going into Fargo and they're raising their level. Whereas in the West, you get like an undefeated DLB team and an undefeated Kenmare team and an undefeated Beulah or Hazen team, and they're super far apart, so they don't grow up competing against each other very much. And then they play each other once in high school, in a non-region game. That doesn't mean that it's not going to hold any water to whether they win the region. It's just it's a little tighter over there. The population's over there, and and then the Class B standards. And I don't know what the deal is in the West right now in Class A, where they're kind of beating on the East a little bit, but and then the Class B kids in the East. I'm guessing you guys get into Minnesota. Did you go to Minnesota tournaments and wrestle there, Jake?
When I was younger, I used to a lot.
Yeah. So, that's just a big difference. A kid from Stanley wants to get to Minnesota. He's going to drive all the way past Fargo. And then there's nothing in East Montana. It's the same as the Western North Dakota. So that has a lot to do with it. It's a big advantage on the East, but I do think that Region 1 had a golden generation of athletes all graduate, the Kinder kids, Enderling kids, Central Cass kids, Northern Cass kids, and they just raised their level all at the same time. And it's just the toughest region, period. And you guys are a big part of it. Tell us a little bit about what's exciting about competing in college. One at a time there. We'll start with Frosty. You're going to be in the Summit League there. Maybe there's teammates that are older that you're just excited to compete against. Maybe it's you're going to be close to home, or maybe, you're going to be traveling around the country, flying with Summit League stuff, and then Valley City there. Tell me what's excited about that, and what position you're going to play, Jake. Things like that.
What I'm looking forward to the most is almost starting over. So right away in track, I wasn't a crazy runner. So I had to get where I am today through hard work and effort. And to be a top dog in that league, it's crazy. So I'm looking forward to the grind and becoming one of the better runners there by through effort and through time. That's gonna be one of the more enjoyable bits, and competing against old athletes like Braden Knutson, Tommy Kern. I know they're not in the same league, but they still compete against NDSU, and I'm looking forward to racing against old athletes from Class B. That's gonna be a blast.
The main thing I'm excited about is I just love to. I'm just super competitive, and I love to compete. You ask my friends, I'm probably the most competitive kid they know, and I'm excited because I'm still young, and I don't know. I'm excited to go get hit by a dude that has a full beard and tattoos all over his arms. So I don't know. I just love competing, and I feel like college is just another level of competitiveness, and that's really what I'm excited for. And especially as a wide receiver, it's a lot of one-on-one matchup. So I think my competitiveness is really what I'm excited for.
Are you a slot receiver? Are you gonna be out on the X roll out there on the outside, or what?
I think I'll be. Coaches told me I'll be a little bit of both, but we'll see.
Versatility. Both really good answers, boys. I'm not gonna lie. Very articulate, and sometimes high school athletes, when we've had them on here, will take one sentence and that's all they get to answer. So I tell you, as coaches, that goes a long way. It's maturity, and that stuff's gonna help you guys. It's gonna help you fit into a locker room and adjust to the college life, which is a big part of being a college athlete. Is not just the sports, but adjusting to the process of, now you got a vigorous schedule with classes and workouts and all that stuff. And then, of course, team chemistry, with sports.
It's just funny because, so when I did an interview with these guys out in West Fargo, right there for West Fargo, Cheyenne, and, I'll tell you right now, and if your coaches see this, I will say this, and from a guy that wanted some Northern Sun titles or whatnot, you are the epitome of what I would look for in a student host for hosting recruits. Is you guys move on. You got kids that are humorous, approachable, articulate.
Yep.
That's what coach wants in a kid. Make the recruits feel welcome. So hopefully someone did that for you guys, and then hopefully you guys do that for others. Even if they run your event or play your position, you should welcome the competition.
Absolutely.
So that's my feelings on that. I really appreciate you guys coming on. You guys are absolute, as Spainer would say, ballers.
Yep.
And Spainer's going to keep following all those guys. I know Riggs will too when you guys are in college, so that'll be cool. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Well, that was an awesome interview we just had there. We're going to go into a little high school. We're going to go to high school predictions here for the state tournaments coming up. Wade, you want to lead this here?
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
go, and then I'll just give you what my thoughts are on it, my predictions, and we'll move through it.
So it's a busy couple days here, actually next couple weeks here as they start to finish after high school. All these sports start to complete their championships. I know you've been all over the place, but I like to get some perspective on a couple of ones. Let's start with baseball, okay? Boys baseball, what are your predictions right now? I know you cover a little bit of region play in terms of that stuff, but what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to come out on top?
I think Dickinson wins Class A baseball.
Okay.
That's who I got. I think Dickinson's the best team. They've been the best team from the beginning
Didn't they
of the year.
lose the Century?
They did.
Okay.
Lost the Century. Century's on fire a little bit. It could be a Dickinson Century championship game.
Okay.
If that happens, there might be a little kryptonite in that for Dickinson. But
Okay.
I've got Dickinson taking Class A.
Okay. What about Class B?
Lemoore over Thompson.
Oh, boy. Boy, I tell you.
And I tell you, the North Star people, they're going to hate me for that. But I know that North Star, they're very, very good. But I think I've seen Langdon, the defending state champions.
Yeah.
I've seen Thompson.
Okay.
I've seen DLB. I've seen I've seen them all.
Okay.
I've seen everyone that's in the state tournament.
Okay.
I'm going Lemoore
Okay.
over Thompson, even though I think Langdon can mash.
Okay. What about girls tennis?
It will be, I think, Davies over Minot in the state championship.
Okay. Boy, oh boy. I mean, you
No one's touching them.
Cover.
Mimi will beat Phoebe,
Okay.
I think, in the state individual championship.
Okay.
Davies will win doubles.
Okay.
And Inya and her partner, they're really, really good. And I think Davies will edge Minot
Okay.
for the state championship.
You following a little fast pitch? Do you got a fast pitch?
I do.
Okay. What do you got? We're going off the cuff here, folks.
So we're
I'll
going
tell
A.
you.
We're going A. And it's interesting because you know who the dark horse is Jamestown.
Okay.
I do like Jamestown. I'm not picking against, I'm not going to pick them.
Okay.
Dickinson beat him with a walk-off in WDA. I watched Jamestown clip West Fargo. I was in West Fargo. I watched Jamestown beat them. West Fargo was beating them 5-1, and then Jamestown put a 2, and a 3 up to finish that. Finish that. They absolutely never give up, and it doesn't matter if they have 2 strikes. I mean, they can mash it out. They're good. But I'm going with Dickinson.
Okay.
I think Dickinson wins state. They've got their catcher's the best catcher in North Dakota. She's amazing. And then Class B.
I'll tell you though, it was crazy to hear what was going on with women's fast pitch and how many games they were all playing at the South Hill complex, and like Class B teams their fields were washed out or whatever, so they would drive to Minot to play each other just to get games in. I mean, essentially I heard it was like a 9-week schedule sandwiched into like 3.5 weeks. And like teams are playing like doubleheader, like just games.
So
after game.
you're seeing a lot of the seeds in the region tournaments weren't correct.
Okay.
And that's why there were upsets. Like mine, I got upset by Century or whatever. Century really wasn't a 7. Mine out really wasn't a 2. If that makes sense. Okay. But Class B, I got to go Central Cass.
Oh boy!
I really, really like Beulah and Velvas.
I think you've just been hanging out down there. The boys that are talking about something in the water. And
Central
I think you've been
Cass
drinking
lost
the water
in
there
extra
too,
innings to Dickinson, and they beat Dickinson last year.
Okay.
They're the defending state champs. I'm going Central Cass.
Where is the girls' fast pitch championship? Where is it? Where is it? Do you know?
Jamestown is
Okay.
Jamestown's A. So I'm going Central Cass, I think, for B.
Okay.
And then what do we got next?
We got golf. Yeah, you're making any predictions on that, or is that a little tough? You hung out, made some putts on one of the
Kindred,
TikToks.
Titletown.
Okay.
They won state track like they predicted.
Yeah.
And then, I think Kindred will win state golf.
Okay.
There is no boys golf there.
Okay. All right.
I think I will go Century for Class A.
Okay.
So we'll see.
And then I think the last one, and I hope I got this right, but we got girls soccer state championship. We obviously try to save it because I know you're a big soccer guy, and there's a lot more eyes. Even when you're not on location, you'll definitely follow a lot on social media. There's no secret. Running high, the powerhouse team. I know there's a big powerhouse team undefeated out in the East, but play it out. Like, don't just pick your winner, but kind of think how you think the tournament's going to end. Get to the point where you inevitably don't think it's going to be Davies Minot, but explain how you think it's going to work its way through. Is the West going to win a game, or is this going to be East and Minot? What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to go East and Minot.
Okay.
The
game's close. Maybe a pull on an upset could be.
Bismarck is the 2 seed.
Okay.
Could be close.
Okay.
But I don't foresee them winning.
Okay.
Then you got Cheyenne versus Legacy, and I think Cheyenne will walk away with that one.
Boy, Legacy's
Davies and Minot are both going to win. Legacy's first ever appearance. Mm-hmm. I think
Same with hockey, they did it too. First ever eligible to play, and they made the state tournament. So that was pretty rough.
So then you're going to get Minot versus Cheyenne, and that one worries me for Minot.
Okay. Why is that?
Cheyenne runs a 3-5-2.
Okay.
They run 3 back deep. They run 2 up top, and they stack the forwards.
Okay.
Minot runs a sweeper, and I don't like that stacked forward on the sweeper. Okay. And the underneath forward is really lightning fast. I fear there could be some 2-on-1s for Minot there. And if I'm looking at the Cheyenne's perspective, they have a very good chance to win that game.
Now, I don't want to get off topic here being a soccer guy, but is that a coach's scheme or strategy, or is it just based on the identity of what you have?
I'm just talking about, I don't know what these coaches will do when those games come to play each other.
Okay.
I'm
Just
telling you
seen.
how Cheyenne played all season,
Okay.
how Minot played all season. If they're going to play their identities, I don't like the matchup.
Okay.
But having said that, well, let me rephrase. Other thing I don't like is they play the 3 center backs deep. Minot is very, very fast up front, so that's going to neutralize that a little bit. Minot has 3 right-sided forwards. Cheyenne's Achilles would be the right side of their back line, which would be Minot's left side. So does Minot have someone smooth enough from the left to exploit it? I don't know. Davies did. Their left wing is their best forward. Well, their most dangerous forward.
Okay.
So my gut feeling is Minot smokes him in the first round, overtime, or something close in the second round.
Do you mean survives to get through, or
Survives the second round.
Yeah.
And
JV,
then
survive in advance.
I think it's going to be much like last year. Minot over Davies in the state championship.
Wow.
And Minot going away in that game. I don't think Davies quite believes that they can beat Minot yet.
So you think that that's a Cheyenne is more of a hurdle, not a better matchup than Davies? Is that just the way the teams match up and stuff? And do you think, because now we talked about it off the air,
Davies is definitely better than Cheyenne. I'm just talking about the matchups.
Okay.
Davies and Minot are the best two teams, just like tennis.
Yep.
And I'm opposite of the tennis. I picked Davies for tennis. I'm picking Minot for soccer. I think Minot wins it because they believe that they're the best team.
Just an
and I think
understanding of
Davies
experience and know what to do.
Is nervous for that Minot game.
Now, we talked off air about how the tournament's 3 and 3 nights type of thing. Does that play a factor in it? I mean, you could not only do you got to be mentally tough to be able to go through that. That third game's got to be draining.
Well, last year it was a massive factor because Minot's far and away the deepest team.
Okay.
But Davies is deeper this year.
Okay.
So they're going to be better. You're not going to see Minot beat Davies 6-0 in the state championship this year. It's going to be a closer game. It's going to be a 2-goal game or a 1-goal game.
Okay. Well, good.
In Mandan and on turf, not on grass.
Darien Sports Complex? Is that
Yeah.
what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you. Well, that's going to be interesting. I would like to know what our viewers, especially, to get some predictions. And I would like someone to hold him account because I tell you, sometimes I feel like his predictions are
Not at all. That's always
all over the
100%.
map.
Always 100%.
Oh, it's
always 100%.
Everything's Region 1. All those, Region 1 people down there. I think you should buy a house and live there somewhere in Region 1, I tell you.
Region 1 is...
Just rent an apartment, you're down there all the time covering their sports. But I'll tell you, it's been exciting, though, because there's no truth. When I've heard you say Kindred a lot. And I don't with Kindred, when you talk about a cohort of sports, all your overall the universe or the old campus.
Yeah, they're winning the Sears Trophy this year.
You know what I mean?
There's a reason they're called Titletown.
Girls and boys. You mean it's just like you said, it's just the years of kids that were born in 2003 and 2004 and 2005, which is kind of that sophomore, junior, senior. Just that's the Kindred cohort of kids. I mean. It's been pretty good. I mean, there's been times when Minot High's had some really good years where the basketball team was winning and the football team was losing the championship and the girls' teams were doing well and stuff like that. But to see you ramble off Kindred and, different sports, and maybe they may not win certain titles, but they have individual athletes that are just, really good. But it has to be something about it. But they would win. Would you call it the Sears Trophy or whatever?
They call it for the NCAA with all the, Stanford wins it every year because they got all the golfers and tennis players and whatever, swimmers.
Rowers.
But, yeah. So,
okay.
And I think next week we should point out, our show next week should be dedicated to pointing out the Spainer and Riggs top athletic schools in the state.
Absolutely. I would love to, like you said.
We'll just figure out. Because right now, we were talking the West is ahead of the East, but that's from the end of winter last year to the beginning of spring this year. So this spring isn't factored into that. Now, the East can really change their stars this spring by Davies sweeping Minot and tennis and and whatever. And then, however it goes,
Absolutely.
Century didn't sweep track this year, and usually Century dominates, track going away, both. But they got one this year.
I'm going to be interested to see how this all plays out because, like I said, in some of the region games, like I said, Century upset Dickinson, or what do you? I don't know if you call it an upset, but seeing those teams meet again, I think that would be a kind of a good little see how that plays out.
That's where it comes down to. If it was like, if I had to pick one team or something in Class B baseball, I might pick Langdon. Mm-hmm. But you got to have someone throw 3 days in a row. So I mean, who's throwing?
Absolutely.
I'm going Lamore. Lamore's got arms.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. But we want to hear from you guys. We want to know exactly where Spainer is. And I think our next show theme will be a little bit about accountability and see where his predictions were. And we'll see where it all shakes out.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
And
I'm here.
and then we'll see how it all shakes out because I think that's going to be big. Want to know who's going to win some of these big tournaments and see if we're going to see some upsets along the way, but we want to hear what you got to say. Another great episode here on Spainer and Riggs Show. We dived in, had a great couple interviews, got some predictions from Spainer. Now, this next episode, you're going to look forward to it. We're going to kind of recap all of the spring sports, see where all the teams played, how the high school sports ended up, and compare and contrast the Class A, mighty Class A against Class B. Make sure you stay tuned for our next episode on the Spainer and Riggs podcast, brought to you by the Dakota Network.